Hello and welcome to Biz Inbox. I'm Em Burnham, and think of these episodes like career therapy, but way less formal. There's no names, no pressure, just your messiest work problems answered.
And the messier the better. We enjoy those so much. I'm Sarah Davidson, a lawyer turned entrepreneur who's navigated everything from corporate boardrooms to startup chaos. We are here to get real about those workplace challenges that keep you up at night and now keep us at night. It's a group project, guys.
100%. I think about you guys all the time, 24/7. You're in my dreams. If you are new here to Biz Inbox, this is where your professional dilemmas get solved with no names attached, like I mentioned before. So whether you're navigating office dynamics or launching a side hustle, we have got you covered and your identity can stay completely under wraps.
Today we're diving into Christmas party survival, specifically what to do when you're the one who became the office legend for all the wrong reasons.
No.
We have all heard a Christmas party office legend or two. We are also tackling how to deal with that colleague who turns every inappropriate moment into their personal comedy show. But first, let's talk about nailing your personality in a Zoom interview where everyone else gets to be there in person.
Oh, this is so true, because we got this question. It was an anonymous person and it landed into our inbox and it said, I'm interviewing for jobs remotely because I live in a different state and I'm struggling to show my personality and create that connection you get from meeting face to face. How do I bring warmth and friendliness through a screen when Zoom interviews feel so stiff and formal? I feel like my best qualities, like my sense of humor and ability to build rapport, just don't translate over video calls. What are some ways to make a memorable impression and show my true self when I can't rely on in-person chemistry? Oh, this one's so hard.
Oh, it's really tough. It is so tough when it can feel like a really big disadvantage, but I would almost try and flip it on its head that it's really hard when you are in an interview situation where you're all the same, right? Like they're sitting at a table and they've got a line of people coming in and sitting down. If anything, the fact that you were in a different format can kind of give you a point of difference. Like it might be a way for you to make your interview more memorable because they had to do it in a different format. So I think the first thing is don't automatically assume it's going to be a disadvantage. Like I think if you come at it from that perspective, you're already feeling a bit doubtful, you're already worried about your personality coming through, and then it closes you off. That makes it even harder for you to shine. I think sometimes the easiest way is just to pretend like it's not happening. Like just try as hard as you can to speak how you would. I mean, we do these online.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
We built a rapport within like 5 minutes. And I think it's because you don't allow it to become the big barrier that it can. You just try and forget that that's even happening. So firstly, I think, don't assume it's all bad. I think, if lockdowns taught us anything, it's that you can learn how to let your personality shine through a screen in a weird way.
100%. And to this person, I feel like if you get this job, which I'm hoping you do, you'll have to do that anyway, because it's not like you're interviewing on Zoom and then suddenly coming to the office. Your whole role will be remote. So you have to find a way to let yourself just kind of take a seat back and just like you said that one of your best qualities is your sense of humor. You can absolutely show your sense of humor through Zoom. Like me and Sarah are the funniest people in the world and we show our sense of humor.
And you guys can hear it
through Zoom
through the screen
all the time. It's really good. But I do understand what you mean. Like I feel like when you're sitting in like a little box and you can kind of, as a third party, picture yourself being seen by these people, it is quite intimidating, especially if they're in a meeting room and you know your face has filled up the entire screen. But I will say that after COVID, a lot of interviews do happen on Zoom. So you won't be the only one. Like, yes, you might be the only one who is working remotely, but I know so many of my friends who have done interviews and initially they are Zoom interviews before they get met in person. And I think it's just a new way of working. I think more and more people are having Zoom interviews because it's just easier and more efficient. And if you're working in a different job, you don't actually have to like pop out and make that fake lie. Like I have a dentist appointment. Like you don't have to do that anymore. You can just pop into a meeting room and call on Zoom. So you won't be the only person who will be interviewing on Zoom, even if you are the only person who will be working remotely. So I just say lean in, because this will be your whole job. So you may as well start off just super, super chill and super, super fun and just be completely yourself, because that's exactly what people are going to want to see. And exactly what you said, Sarah, I feel like don't already see it as a crux, because it's not. Like, it could be quite endearing. Like, have a fun background. I love that. I love seeing what people's backgrounds are.
You have a talking point behind you. And that actually brings me to like 2 practical tips that I would give you. If you're not used to creating chemistry online, because it is foreign for some people, if you haven't been traditionally, you know, working remotely or chatting remotely, like Em and I do it every day. So it's not a new thing for us to relax. Perhaps before the interview, do some FaceTime calls with your friends.
That's such a good idea.
Like, get used to, if you're used to the format, then it becomes less stiff. Like, if you're the stiffness, then it's you who needs to learn to relax into it, maybe not the person on the other end. So I would practice with other Zoom type calls. And then the other thing is the environment where you set up your call is also really important, because I think sometimes it's harder for you to relax into yourself if you've got your, you know, camera set up and you're in your kitchen. Like, you're distracted, you're not taking it seriously, like you're not sitting at a desk. Are you dressed properly? Like, do choose where you set up for that, you know, remote interview in a setting where you do know you feel your best. And so for me, like, I can only record these podcasts in the room where I record my podcast, because otherwise I don't get in the zone of what I'm doing, and there's too much around me to distract me, and it's too familiar, and then I feel like I'm at home, and it's weird having like my potential future boss in this room with me. But I think choose your environment as well in a way that helps you relax, and then that's how you can help encourage your true self to come out.
So true. And I also feel like you have exactly what you said, Sarah, like you're in control of the environment, which is already a one-up from people who have to do in-person interviews. The like scariest thing about an in-person interview is like, firstly, what if I'm going to be late because I can't find the building? What if I'm wearing the wrong thing? What if like my hand shakes every time I go to take a sip of water? Like, I feel like you actually have a big one-up from a lot of people who will be doing in-person interviews.
100%. You'll be sitting in where you choose to sit. So enjoy that.
Good luck. I hope you get the job. You deserve it. And make sure you have a really fun background. Show that personality. Okay, the next question we have is one that I feel like everyone has had a similar experience with. It's the anxiety you get after a work event. So we got this DM to us on Instagram, and they want to be kept completely anonymous. They said, I made a huge mistake at our work Christmas party. I got completely plastered and apparently made quite the spectacle of myself. You go, girl. The details are fuzzy, but the secondhand embarrassment is real. I've been at this company for 3 years and have a good reputation, but I'm worried I've completely ruined it in one night. What's the best way to rebuild trust with my team and show that this was a one-off mistake, not who I really am professionally? Ooh. I'm getting anxious just reading this.
Oh, that's so hard. That is so hard, because you've already, like, the fact has already happened. It's so easy to give advice about how not to get completely plastered and make a fool of yourself. But if you've already done it, my first port of call for damage control would be, I mean, it sounds like the details are fuzzy. You need to know what those details are, because you can't do damage control until you know exactly what kind of spectacle you made of yourself. Like, you don't know how bad it is until you know what you did and who you did it in front of. So I think, like, find a trusted source and, like, put together the pieces of the story first. That is absolutely step one.
That's exactly what I had in my notes. Like, is there a close friend in your workplace that can give you the honest, like, they need to be super honest with you, an honest download of exactly what happened. And I don't want to kick you while you're already down, but I have made a fool of myself at a work function. I feel like I got away with it because I was quite new to the business and quite young, and I was just like this crazy little girl essentially. But my rule of thumb is know your drink limit, like know like how many drinks it can take for you to get drunk and what kind of alcohol it is, and then do 2 drinks less. So I always go into every work function, and now with my role, I have a lot of work functions, and sobriety and stuff, it has changed. Like people aren't expecting you to drink all the time, but if you're one of those people who does get really nervous in social situations and you can kind of relax into it, especially at work functions with a champagne or 2, definitely don't stop yourself from doing this. The last thing I want is for you to completely change who you are and get off the drinks because you're so embarrassed. Like that is not the answer. But just know your limit and then do 2 drinks less of that limit, because it will always help you feel so much better the next day. And I don't know, I feel like with these situations, it could be amplified. Like I don't know how you heard, because you said the details are really fuzzy, but apparently you made a spectacle of yourself. So someone did tell you that you made a spectacle of yourself. I just want to know like how much of that is true, because especially with these office Christmas parties, I guarantee you're not the only one who has like pushed it a little too far. There will definitely be a handful of people who went a bit too hard, a bit too far. So I firstly don't really like that this is the way you found out with no details. Like I think that's quite a mean way to find out about something you've done. But if there is someone close to you in the workplace, just let them give you an honest answer of exactly what happened. And exactly what you said, Sarah, don't try to do damage control before you actually know what happened, because it could completely work the other way where you just, I don't know, send an email to a company-wide email apologizing. You don't need to be doing that. I would say just find out what you did that was so bad. If there was like one person involved or a few people involved, take them out to coffee. Just be like, hey, I don't usually act this way. I'm really sorry if I did anything that like made you uncomfortable. If you feel like you did act inappropriately, like I do think that requires a bit of a sit down, a lunch. But if someone just said you made a spectacle of yourself, I feel like they wouldn't say that if something seriously happened. I feel like they would say that if it was kind of a funny little thing. So I feel like don't be too hard on yourself is what I want to say.
100%. And I think don't go into anything too drastic like a company-wide email.
Nothing requires a company-wide email.
Yeah, nothing ever requires that. But I think find out who saw.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go apologizing and doing damage control to people who didn't actually notice, because then you're just drawing it to their attention when you might have got away with it. So I feel like work out who was actually impacted and then go into your damage control. And that could be anything from like the full spectrum is anything from just laugh it off. Like there's something to be said about laughing at yourself with other people kind of softens the blow. But if you have done anything a little bit more reputation damaging, then 100%. The coffee, sit down, upfront apology, and reflecting that like you want to show that this is a one-off mistake. Sometimes the easiest way to do that is just to tell people.
Yeah.
To be like, guys, this is very uncharacteristic. We all know the dangers of Christmas parties. I absolutely lost control. I had way too much fun, and I'm really sorry that I showed up as a person that I didn't want to show up as. Like, I think the way that these sort of events turn into, you know, the story that gets handed down in generations is if you ignore it. Whereas if you get in front of it and talk to the people you need to talk to, then I don't know, I feel like once you've addressed it, it doesn't amplify. It starts to, like, people have the chance to move on.
100%.
Whereas if you just don't acknowledge it ever and pretend like it never happened, that's when, you know, it has a chance to become the rumor mill, and then that's when you lose control of the narrative. It's like control the narrative.
So true. Oh, good luck. I know exactly what you're feeling like right now, and it's the worst feeling, but it doesn't last forever. So this last question came in through email from Jules, and a little reminder, if you want to email any of your work dilemmas, career dilemmas, or advice for anything, there is a link in our show notes, and it's really, really easy. You can have your name on it, or you can be completely anonymous. So Jules says, I need advice on a situation that's escalating. My team leader regularly makes inappropriate comments in meetings. Last week he said our diversity initiative was just box ticking and made a joke about snowflake millennials when someone raised concerns about workplace culture. Our junior staff have mentioned feeling uncomfortable, but no one wants to be the one to speak up. How do I address this professionally when he holds so much power over my career progression? Oh, this makes me so angry.
That's so hard.
Needs to be put in
I feel
this
like it
place.
would be quite common.
It would be quite common.
But I feel like the fear of someone in a position of power, there is so much worry about them sort of taking it out on you if you do speak up by affecting your career progression. That is a real concern for so many people. I feel for you so much. It's really, really difficult. But I think that there are avenues available that aren't necessarily confronting that person directly. Those avenues exist for a reason. Like HR departments are there for that reason.
100%. I also had HR as my literally I just had the word HR firstly. And then I was like, that's it, just HR.
Full stop.
But I will say that no one person should hold power over your career. Like, yes, you have managers, yes, you have team leaders, but they shouldn't be the end all of your career. And if you feel that that is the way, then your company isn't doing you justice. And like the setup is completely wrong. So I will say that it might feel like that he holds all that power, but he really shouldn't. And if he does hold all that power, then 100% you need to speak to HR, because colleagues that are in position of powers do have the responsibility to make the workplace comfortable and safe. And he is 100% not doing that. And I do think that this is a situation that needs to be escalated, especially with saying words like snowflake millennials. And I'm assuming you are a millennial. That's like a direct hit. Like that is like name calling. That is something that should never happen in any workplace. Even speaking about diversity initiatives, like just box ticking. By even saying that, he's not only like making you uncomfortable, but he's also going against the company's values, which is like just makes him a bad employee and a coworker. And I think HR, like their job is to make you feel safe and comfortable and put it on them. Like it's not your responsibility to teach someone how to behave in a workplace. It's not yours at all. And I feel like similar to the junior staff, I would have been in that position as well, where I would not have felt uncomfortable to speak up. And I'm so lucky to have never worked in a workplace where I've had to deal with someone like this, because I just feel like it's not someone that people should be dealing with at all. And yeah, it's such simple advice, and it is really scary, especially when you're young and new to a team and you just want everyone to just love their job and you're feeling so uncomfortable. HR is the best point of contact, and you just put all the balls in their court, because that's their job. It's their job to make you feel comfortable and your colleagues to feel comfortable. But what I will say is good luck. Like it's so shit to deal with shitty people, especially when you love your job so much. And it can be really debilitating. Like people like that do make you feel like you don't want to show up to work anymore or like continue with this role. And the easy way out would be to look for another job. But I would say before you do that, which I know you're going to feel like you want to do, how can you address it in the workplace? And I'm sure HR would be super receptive to this feedback and will do everything they can to keep you in your position and deal with this person.
I feel for you so much though, because I know like in an ideal world, you would be able to speak up directly, but when they're your team leader, the power dynamic is so unequal that it can feel really overwhelming. So definitely HR, but I think also depending on the workplace, there are sometimes other team leaders who are at a similar level of seniority to the person who is making the comments that you might have a better relationship with, that you might feel like you could be a little bit more open with. And I know all of this feels a bit like dobbing on somebody, but you don't need to feel bad about that, because you've been put in this situation where you don't feel safe to talk to them directly. So find an ally at a similar level of seniority who can help you, even who can help you decide what to do about it, because you don't have to do it alone. HR does sometimes feel like a really big step, and sometimes it's overwhelming to even be seen to walk into their office. So maybe another team leader who you have a good relationship with is another alternative. Or if there's like a middle person, like in law firms, there's often like your partner is the top level of seniority, but then there's like senior associates in between who are sort of a little bit higher than the juniors, but closer to leadership to be able to help you at least navigate the situation. You don't have to do it alone is the main thing.
Oh, good luck, Jules. I feel like just writing in shows that you are so passionate about your job and you really want this hurdle to be tackled, and all power to you. I really, really hope you get what you want out of this situation. Thank you so much for helping us clear the biz inbox. If you have a work question, please send it our way. You will find a link to submit your questions in the show notes. Tell us your name and story, or you can remain completely anonymous. It is up to you.
And if you missed any of our episodes, just scroll back in your feed. We'll be back in the biz inbox next week. Bye.
Bye.